Hi everyone, thanks for joining us and sorry for starting 45 minutes late. Actually, we were waiting for one of our guests, Comrade Nelson Nnanna Nwafor, to join us. Somehow, I don't know what's wrong with his network, but if he joins us along the line, we'll just put him on and then continue the discussions from there. Welcome to the Sunday's episode of Shagalinku TV. I think this is the first time we're doing a Sunday's episode, yeah, because today is a special day. It's the International Biodiversity Day. Every May 22nd, it comes up and it's celebrated worldwide, especially for environmental enthusiasts who and climate change enthusiasts as well who would like to celebrate the earth and all of that. So that's why we're doing a special edition today on a Sunday. I'm sure our regular viewers will like what's happening that we're doing a special edition on a Sunday. Okay, so we're looking at all of that. We're celebrating the day, and especially with the theme for the year, which is building a shared future for all. I am supposed to have two guests. I would have said I have two guests here, but I have just one here yet, and then we'll as we go on, when the other joins, then we will bring him on the screen. So I have Mr. Ibrahim Joseph. He'll be introducing himself much more, and then we'll talk more about what he does in his organization, and then we'll look at biodiversity and see all the challenges and way forward and all of that. My name is Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari, and welcome to the Sunday's edition of Shagalinku TV. And like I said, it's a special edition because it's Biodiversity Day. So let me bring in my guests, one of them, and then we'll take the discussion from there. Hello, Joseph. How are you doing? Hi, Joseph.
I'm fine. Good to meet you and happy World Day to you
Yeah,
and
thank you
all
so
our
much.
viewers.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I'd like you to tell us more about yourself, a little introduction, your full, of course, we know your full name, what you do, your organization, and then we'll come back and talk with you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Joseph Ibrahim. I work for Global Initiative for Food Security and Ecosystem Preservation as the Programs Officer. Our organization is one that was established in recognition of the environmental challenges we are facing right now, one of which is climate change and also loss of biodiversity. So we have a mandate to preserve our ecosystem and also to help communities who are already facing this impact to be able to build resilience to climate change and environmental degradation impacts so that they can also secure their future. So it's really a good privilege to be here and happy uh, to meet you all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joseph. I'm happy you talked about a few things concerning climate change and all of that. So, but basically, let's even start with the first things. Why was May 22nd set aside every year to do all of this, to educate people, to create more awareness? Is it that we already are having issues already with our environment that we need to also put this special day together? What is it all about when you talk about the Biodiversity Day?
Yes, thank you very much, Emmanuel. Yeah, today, May 22nd, has been marked the World Biodiversity Day. And initially, the day it was celebrated in December, but as a result of the first convention on biological diversity, which was held in 1992, and I think it was around May, the UN decided to change the date from December to May 22nd. And why did they mark this day for this celebration? It's simply to create awareness on the critical role biodiversity plays in our sustainable, sustainability and also the critical role it plays in our well-being as large in every facet of our lives. There are critical things for us not to neglect because our existence actually depends on them. And that's why it was important for the UN to set aside a day for us to create awareness, which we are doing on this platform right now, and continue to educate people on why we need to preserve and conserve biodiversity. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So I'll come back now and also ask for the layman, what does it mean? You know, because sometimes when you go to the field and talk with the rural woman, the market woman, the Okada rider, sometimes they don't even understand what you're saying. Sometimes they also even feel that all these are just made up, you know, even when you tell them of the incessant floodings, the erosions and all of that. Some still don't believe. They just feel that all these are just what a white man is coming to incite Africans over. So quickly take us through what biodiversity means. And then for our viewers, you can also drop your comments. If you have questions for our guests, please do drop them here, and we will read them. If you have any comment as well. I saw this one here from Yusuf Durodola, and he's from Lagos, and he says, well done. So drop your comments, questions, and what you think about the Biodiversity Day, what you would like to know better. Our guests are here to do all of that. So let me come back to Joseph and shed more light on, you know, generally on what biodiversity means.
Yes, so biodiversity is simply from the word biological, which is biological diversity. In simple terms, it's just simply saying the variety or different compartment of biological organisms. So different species as they exist. So that's in simple terms what biodiversity is. Life, bio, which is life in different forms. So in creation, we have different lives in different forms. So that's simply what biodiversity is. We have life as human beings, we have life animals, we have life also as plants. So they are all categorized as biodiversity. So in a nutshell, plant and animals are biodiversity, anything that has life.
Yeah, yeah. So let's even look at the oceans. You know, a lot has been happening. Environmentalists and a lot of people have also talked about the concern when people throw plastic into seas, even pollution of the water, people in rural areas where they farm, and fishermen can't really go for the occupation, because just as in the urban area where people pride themselves as bankers, as lawyers, in the rural area as well, people pride themselves as farmers, fishermen, and all of that. What is your concern as we look at biodiversity when it comes to the riverine area now? You know, let's just even put it that way. So for people who are in the riverine area, whose source of livelihood are being slowly and gradually slipping away from them, you know, what's your concern when it comes to all of that?
Thank you very much. And this is one of the reasons why today was set aside as World Biodiversity Day, is because of some of the things that are happening in the oceans and the coastal areas. It is a known fact now that over 1 million different species are threatened, and threatened in the sense that if we do not take concrete actions, they will be wiped out from the surface of planet Earth. And that will have great consequences on our health, also on our economy and our different aspects of our life. Now, for communities who depend on the water, ocean, rivers, different things are happening. The ocean or water contains numerous amount of varieties of life. Life itself is either on land or on water, and it is a known fact that two-thirds of the world is covered by water. So a lot of human activities has impact on water. For example, we pollute our waters with a lot of plastics, and fishes and other marine animals pick up these plastics and digest them into their system. Because plastics are harmful, they are not able to process them, and even humans who are higher animals cannot process plastic. As a matter of fact, plastics takes over 1,000 years before they are able to decompose. Uh, and so that becomes really harmful. And when these marine animals consume these materials, their life is threatened. They die. And when they die, because they are not able to reproduce their kind, they eventually go into extinction. And when they go into extinction, these communities who depend on them for livelihood do not find anything to harvest from this water. And that now becomes an issue. Another issue, apart from just we polluting the animals, is sometimes we over harvest these animals. There are communities where they are fishing all year round, and to the point that they have harvested almost all the fishes. And fishes will need to be in the water to reproduce itself. So sometimes when we harvest as a result of the demand that we have for food, we are harvesting at a rate that is not sustainable. They are not able to replenish themselves, and then they eventually go into extinction. And once they go into extinction, that has some consequences on our environment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So let's come back to you. What's your organization doing currently? Any plans for the future? Have there been interventions in some of these awareness creation? And what have you seen as you go to the field? Doing some of the interventions that your organization does.
Yes, thank you very much again. Yes, for us, this is very critical and this is very important. And this is because we understand the critical role that biodiversity plays in our environment. For instance, in communities that depend on fresh water, biodiversity is critical for purifying their water, for you to have clean water. It is through biodiversity as the water flows, we have species who will absorb some of these toxic substances into their system and then flow down to communities, and then we can fetch this water and drink and also do some other domestic activities. It also helps us in stabilizing our environment. For instance, I know there have been a lot of awareness which we have also taken part of as an organization on pangolins and the rate at which people are harvesting pangolins. And this is because pangolin, although many of us or local people will say we have not seen them live, they play a very important role in the environment. One single pangolin consumes over 200,000 ants in a day. So that is the stabilization process that we have in our environment. And that as much as we have millions of ants and that are born every day, a single pangolin consumes 200,000. So you have 5 pangolins, you are sure that they have removed 1 million ants from the environment. And when we don't have them, that means those ants will find their ways to our homes, and chemicals and pesticides and insecticides will not be enough to clear them off. So these are some of the critical roles that biodiversity plays in our environment. And as an organization, we continue to create this awareness. We have programs that we educate people on need to preserve the environment. We do this through some of our community engagement. We also have the participatory land use planning. We also understand that because our communities are largely agrarian and they depend on agriculture for their source of livelihood, many of these issues are as a result of the way they use the land. So we do land use planning with communities, participatory approach. where we bring young women, we bring women as well, we bring youth and also the elderly people from the community and interact with them and let them tell us some of the issues that they have in their community that is impeding their productivity, and also relate to us what they think they can do to also forestall future occurrences of those impediments. And then we make recommendations, and where possible, we try to come up with solid reports that we can share with other development partners who can also take up interventions in those communities. So that's some of the things that we do because it's really important for our environment.
Yeah, you mentioned something about young women and training them, and also having discussions with them on the way forward. I was going to ask you that what is really the role of women when it comes to all of this? Because when we even talk about climate change, women and children are worst hit, especially when some of them are in the IDPs, and then for communities where there are conflicts and all of that, especially also when you talk about women's sexual reproductive health and rights. So I was so happy when I heard you talk about also adding women as stakeholders and finding a way forward. Let's even look at how you also intend to bring women to begin to demand accountability from policymakers, because no matter how beautiful our interventions are, if we also don't hold government accountable to fulfill some of these deals they sign outside the country and agree, they're always quick to sign these treaties, the agreements and all of that, even collect some upfront mobilization funds and everything, and then when they come here, it just enters voicemail, like Nigerians we say. So
Yeah.
what do we begin to do differently?
Yes, women are very important, not just because a lot of attention is on them right now, but because of the role that they play first as nation builders and also as people who build the family. And so, for somebody who is building families and community, and you don't have the resources, and the skills, and the equipment to do that, and that means you are taking up a responsibility that you are not ready for. And based on societal standards and what have you, women take many of these responsibilities of building the home. So we recognize that we have to provide them with skills and support to be able to do better. And yes, they are affected, they are vulnerable to climate change and environmental degradation because first, a lot of the activities that they do are resource based. For cooking, they need firewood, they have to go and fetch firewood. They are the ones who go out to look for water, trek miles away to get water, thereby reducing their productive time to do other things that will enhance their life and livelihood and all of that. So we need to engage them more. We need to bring them closer to the discussions that we are having and find ways to empower them. Empowering them not just by um, talk and say, okay, please just come here, come for workshops and give them food to eat and all of that. No, we need to empower them by placing them in platforms where they are visible and their demands are being heard. And sometimes I will give you a typical example. There's some of the activities we do with some communities that fossil fuel companies are extracting them. And then we find out that sometimes when men protest or when men speak against these things, the usual reaction you get might be antagonistic and all of that. But when women are the ones requesting for that, there seems to be some level of respect because the security men who will most likely be engaged to come and sow some seeds of conflict in these demands have mothers. And when they see these women demanding for that, they feel the compassion, they feel their pain, and then they are able to respond more friendlier than they would if men were were the ones demanding. And so we recognize that, and in our work, we try to project women to those platforms where they can make demand. And because we believe that their voices sometimes are louder in those platforms.
Okay. We'll be wrapping up soon, but I also need you to take us through what you think about biodiversity as it relates to the immediate environment. You know, what should we begin to do differently? The flooding is becoming something else, you know. Like you said before, people are also not paying attention to tree cutting. You know, you still hear people tell you that soup wey then cook with firewood, now they sweet pass. You know, so what can you say about biodiversity as it affects the environment? Yeah.
Yes, biodiversity itself is the bedrock of the environment. The environment it is what it is because of biodiversity. As human beings, just imagine that the only source of protein that you have is beans. How would you enjoy your life? Like anytime your body needs protein, it's only beans that you have to eat. I'm sure many of us will have stopped. In fact, will have given up on protein completely. But we have varieties. We have animals, we have fishes, we have chicken, and different sorts of proteins for us to eat. The same thing with carbohydrates. So when we want to eat carbohydrate, there are varieties. So for everything that we have, they have varieties, and these varieties contribute in their own way. For example, for a human, you need protein. You eat beans, you get some source of protein, you eat chicken, and all of that are harnessed in your body for your well-being. Also, the environment needs this variety to for its health. So the environment needs different plants. There are plants that will absorb um, some toxic substances. For example, in the aspect of climate change, our trees that we are cutting down, the trees absorb carbon dioxide that humans breathe out, and they give us oxygen. So as they are absorbing carbon, they are creating an ecosystem balance in the system so that both the environment and people and other organisms that live in the environment are able to thrive. More importantly, biodiversity helps us to regulate the temperature of the world because every organism, even humans, depend on temperature to live. If we wake up tomorrow and discover that the temperature of wherever we are living is now 70 degrees Celsius, we will not be able to function. No matter what we are doing at 70 degrees Celsius, we will not be able to function. That is too hot. So also, other organisms, they have their own ambient temperature which they thrive. So if the environment gets above the normal temperature, they are not able to survive, and that becomes a lot of chaos. So it is important for us to conserve and ensure that no organism, no species, um, no life goes into extinction as a result of our activity and as a result of us wanting to feed and also wanting to make money. And that is the very key message I want to leave us all this evening. The fact that we need money, we need food to survive, we need clothes, should not be at the expense of other species. Because if those species goes into extinction, we will have some consequences in the years ahead. Thank you.
Okay, I got a message here from Shetima Bulama Garuba here in Kano. It says, all life matters. So why this hashtag all life matters? Why do you think that hashtag is very important at this point, Joseph?
Yes, because everything that was created or that everything that lives has I remember those days you said the economic importance of mosquitoes in school, or maybe the economic importance of cockroach or frog and all of that, because every living organism has an important role it plays in the ecosystem. So sometimes we just feel because we don't see them, then they are useless, or because we don't need them immediately, then they are useless. But science has proven that for every organism that is out of the ecosystem, there is a corresponding effect it has on the environment and also the lives of human beings. So it is with that understanding that people are saying, yes, we need to educate people and create more awareness on a regular basis that all life matters. And they matter because we have responsibility to keep them. As human beings, we have responsibility towards your neighbor and towards your countrymen to ensure that they are also safe. And we also have responsibilities to ensure that other species, since we are the higher um, organisms, or I would say animals according to science, but so we have responsibility to take and ensure that everyone life counts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joseph. So as we wrap up now, what in summing up, what will you say about the theme for the year? I know it also relates to all life matters, building a shared future for all, because like you said, some time back it was for mosquitoes, and I was somewhere and someone was telling us the importance of cockroach, that we just kill them and we don't know that cockroaches have their role, and wall gecko. She was just describing all of this and everyone was just cringing. I was like, how do we let cockroach stay in our kitchen? If they enter our pot of soup, we'll throw the pot of soup away. Please don't go there, don't go there.
So that's how it is. All of these have importance. We just don't want them in our homes. So sometimes you'll be like, okay, just find a way to leave your house without necessarily killing them, because they have become intruders. But they are not supposed to intrude into our home. They should do what they have to do. But then sometimes even in our house, it's just like um, some people who use local intelligence. Some people keep cats in their houses just because they don't want rats. They know that once they have a cat in their house, and that they don't need to be buying rat poison and all of that, the cat automatically takes care of that. And that is the way the system was built. And so, in answering the question, yes, every organism has a future. Um, just imagine a future of women without men. Would it make sense? Or a future of men without women? That doesn't make sense. Nobody can even phantom that kind of future. So also is a future without maybe lions or zebras and all of that. So we need to build a future that all life can live and thrive. And that's why we have the theme of this year to be building a shared future for us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so before I let you go, one of our viewers sent in a question. So maybe you just look at it on the screen, and if you can see, do read it out and then respond to him.
Yes, he said, hello, Ambassador Emmanuel. Hi to your guests. This year's theme is building a shared future for all life. My question is, how do we do it? Yes, so how do we do it is one of the things that we are doing here, which is creating awareness for people to know that they have responsibility towards the future. We are creating awareness that trees are important, cockroaches are important, all lives are important. Plants, I know then growing up, there are some of these plants and flower plants. We have queen of the night and all of those things. Yes, the smell also repels some pests that will come into your house and all of those. So we are creating awareness that all of these organisms matter. So when we are trying to build our homes, when we are building our roads in the spirit of development, we should not throw all of them. We should always find solutions and innovations where we can also preserve their life. As we are building our own future, we should also remember that their own future also matters. And by the time we continue to create this awareness, more people are informed. Then in my own house, where I am building, I would ensure that we have some biodiversity in that area. We'll have plants and if possible have some animals. Thank you very much.
Okay, so as we wrap up now, I would really like to bring you back again. I know network made us not to start at the exact time, and some people might have logged in and didn't see us and then log out. So I really need to bring you again, maybe before the month ends, so that we look at other angles that we couldn't look at. But as we wrap up now, who would you like to send your greetings to? We usually do something on the show here where we give our viewers, our guests, 1 minute or two to greet individuals, organizations that have been very, very supportive of them, because we know you can't tell your success stories without some support mechanisms, whether from organizations, whether from individuals, and all of that. So you have a few minutes to give your word of felicitations to anyone and everyone who you want to, and then we'll wrap up the program.
Oh, thank you very much for this opportunity. I would give my shout out to my boss and David Michael, and also to the organization I work for, Global Initiative for Food Security and Ecosystem Preservation, to all members of staff, and also a shout out to my parents, my friends, one of which is supporting me here, Kingsley in Joku. So shout out to all of them. And also shout out to Ambassador Emmanuel himself for the great work he is doing over here.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Joseph. So that's it for us today. I want to thank everyone who joined us. Apologies, our second guest, Comrade Nelson and Nnanna and Nwafor couldn't join us. I really don't know what happened with the network, but when we come back the second time around, maybe close to ending of the month, we'll still see if we can bring him in and let him also talk with us and make his own contributions. Thanks to everyone who watched. The video will still be here after this show. And remember to like all our social media handles. It's at Shagalinku TV on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all the social media handles. And remember to also subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is at Shagalinku TV. Click on the notification button, and then you get notified every time and anytime we come up with new topics and new guests to talk with. Also, don't forget that the videos are here, and we have viewers who watch from countries that are 6 and 8 hours different. So when they come back, they find a way of watching and dropping their comments. So please drop your comments as well, and that helps us to also know some of the questions we'll add when we bring our guests on the second time. Once again, I want to thank my guest, Mr. Ibrahim Joseph, for finding time to be here. I also want to thank Comrade Nelson, who couldn't join. I don't really know what happened to the network, but we'll pray he gets the network right when next we come on here. From all of us here, I want to say thank you all and have a beautiful, beautiful Sunday. And remember, please keep your environment clean, and let's move forward. God bless you all and have a beautiful Sunday. Bye-bye.